All right then. Hello. Hello,
Welcome to the
everybody.
Work in Progress podcast, also
I
known
am
as
your host.
also known as Whip.
Whip. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm your host and your phone, eh?
No, you're not. I am, and he's a damn.
A damn. Yeah.
Yeah.
How you been though? It's been a bit since the last one.
From recording, yeah, it's been a little
Yeah.
bit. I'm doing all right. Um,
That's good.
I've been having existential thoughts, like
Oh
I've
dear.
I've been watching some like George Carlin, and I was like, man, people really are kind of dumb.
God. He's one of those types of people where I feel like if there was ever one person I could use speak to the dead on, it'd be him. So
Oh
I would just feed his like fucking like memory, his like brain with all the shit that's like happened, just to see what he'd have to say.
God. Well, with AI, you can make that dream a horrible, horrible nightmare.
There was a guy that did make a George Carlin AI, and it was funny. It was really really funny, but it's just one of those things where it did kind of make me wonder. Where I was like, maybe we should let people like actually rest.
You know what would make George Carlin AI really funny is if that he's aware that he's an AI and like he shits on the person that made him.
Oh, that happened. So
Oh yeah.
so uh so the guy who made him, he goes by the name of Athene, who was like this like WoW streamer. But this guy in question is there's debate whether he scammed people in the past because he did like some weird thing in regarding money and what have you. And the George Carlin AI is like, all right, everybody, here's the internet's greatest scammer, Athene, ladies and gentlemen. He's gonna, fill your mind full of bullshit. It's just like there's something really funny about when the AI just like roasts its own creator when it is aware.
Well, see, like I'm talking about, like he's just like, yep. And in another great, in another great turn of the century thing, I have been brought back to life by some bullshit computer. You know that thing we used to play Minesweeper on? Now that's me. I'm an asshole. like that, the concept of him understanding that he's an AI version of George Carlin would be.
You know what? After this is over, I could probably look that up to see if because he did a lot of those with the George Carlin AI, and there were some that were kind of like that. So I'd have to like go back and watch them all again because I think Athene kind of just disappeared for a bit, and I'm going to wager that he might have actually got into trouble because he did like an AI of Joe Biden when he was still in office, and that actually wound up on the news a couple of times.
Yeah,
So I have a funny feeling that like he might have got into some like trouble. So
jackanape is a really good word that needs to come back.
like Jackanape, yeah.
Because a lot of people are being that. Because jackanape is an impertinent person, which in layman's
Yeah.
terms means a rude asshole. A rude
Oh
asshole who is
yeah.
also stupid.
The one that what's been bugging me recently about like people is this was just something I learned whilst trying to like advertise the Indiegogo. Which speaking of which, that's finished now. But I've learned that people can't fucking read. Like they actually either can't read or they're too lazy to read.
Oh yeah, I used to work at a store that said no EBT. That's like food stamps, right?
Mm,
So we
mm,
didn't accept EBT,
yeah,
and we taped that to the door in orange, massive bold text,
and
and
it didn't work.
people would walk into the store and be like, "Hey man, you accept EBT?" Unironically, and I'd just be like,
Is, is this a prank?
"Is this a prank?" Oh man, if somebody ever like approaches me with like a camera, that's gonna be my first assumption,
Mm.
because there's a good possibility that if somebody just walks up to you and wants to start some shit, odds are good that it is in fact a prank video.
100%, yeah.
And I
And
I need to be very careful because I'm armed.
man, like, God, the landscape has changed because back in 2005 when YouTube was brand new, if someone walked up to you with a camera, you wouldn't really know like what it was for, really. But then nowadays, it's like, is this a YouTube thing? Is this TikTok?
Well, I mean, there's pranks that are like harmless, but
Yeah.
some of these fucking things, and I know we're like really late on this topic, but like, I mean
I
that
mean,
John Somali guy,
Oh yeah.
He
Well,
he just it's a pranked him into Korean prison. So
well, the funny thing is like I do think that the word prank is slowly becoming a bit of not maybe not taboo, but it's getting to that point now where I think a prank is just going to start turning to assault now because it's always the excuse they go for. Where it's like, yo, I'm gonna go to this guy and say this word to him, and it like they have like actual human reactions to it. It's like
yeah,
I'm
not
gonna go
that
to this guy and say this. Yeah,
I'm gonna go up to a big black guy and then say the bad word, and then odds are good that he'll just be like, "Yo, dog, are you feeling all right?" Like,
it's like, are you fucking with me?
you can't just like walk up to people and say that. Like, what if I was like really mean and punched you, and they're just like, "Oh, huh." It's like they didn't get the reaction that they wanted to because their brain thinks that people are completely out of their minds.
Yeah, it's
It's people who are
yeah.
terminally on. They're jackanapes.
They're jackanapes. Yeah.
People who are terminally online are jackanapes because like the reality is that everybody just wants to make enough money in order to be in a house with air conditioning. That's
Yeah.
the goal of everybody, right? You want air conditioning and you want food. You want air conditioning,
Hmm.
food, and time with your friends.
Ideally, yeah.
Yeah, so
It's
whenever, oh man, that's actually like that's what the next show we create is going to be called. Air conditioning,
what
food, and friends. I'm gonna write a book.
you know that actually I feel like that might have already been made, but like or at least the
Yeah,
word of it. But air conditioning, food, and friends. That sounds
yeah.
like an I like to imagine it's an anthology series.
No, 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 no. And then it's like asterisks, the true meaning of life.
Yeah, yeah.
At least it's my meaning of life. I think it's like eye of the beholder kind of thing.
Hmm. Let's see. Oh, we should probably mention you're working on page 5, I think it was.
Yeah, I'm still working on page 5. I think last time I kind of slowed down. My brain wasn't fully in it.
Yeah, good. I had to like correct you a few times last time. Like when I was like, "Why are you giving Bethany like a belly shirt?" And you're like, "Well, that's why you sketched it." It's like, yeah, I sketched it like that, but when you did the last page, it was like it wasn't that because you changed it. So, but it's all good. It's all good.
We just do the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle thing where like we just don't care and make it really like all over the place art wise.
Oh, was that art really inconsistent? They do
Oh,
at the early comics.
no, not the comics, the show.
Oh yeah, I mean to be fair, those '80s shows are really fucking weird when it comes to like inconsistencies.
Well, you know why the quality was really bad in a lot of
All
cases, at least with
right.
the animation. One season was like 62 episodes.
Mm.
In
If you want to
fact,
see another
they
show,
didn't really have seasons. They made enough episodes to sell toys.
I mean, it is. I mean, that's what you would call a toy commercial show. So,
Well, yeah, yeah. That's all they were. That like they didn't care about the quality of the show. They cared about kids buying the toys.
yep,
It
and it
just so
works.
happens that a lot of the people that ended up working on these things were really talented, and the kids really liked it because there was nothing else to do on Saturday.
Yeah. God, the Transformers show is another one where when there's like animation errors, it's like really weird.
Oh yeah,
And I mean like proper like there was one animation error that is so bizarre that I couldn't even explain it to you. It was like I think what happened was the background. They forgot to change the background, so you just got like the Transformers just walking in like thin air in like some kid's like bedroom, you know?
I mean another example that's like it just shows you how they didn't really care is that they arbitrarily chose who the villain was.
Oh, really?
Because at first it was going to be Soundwave because he's the biggest one as a toy, even though that doesn't
Mm.
really make sense because he's a tape deck. So there's that. And then they were like, oh, wait, instead of having their leader be a tape deck, what if it was the gun?
Oh, wait. Is he the one that turns? No, wait.
He
Hold on.
turns into a gun, but then also shrinks down so other people shoot him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Doesn't Megatron do that as well?
Oh, that's Megatron. That's what I'm saying. It's like
Oh,
he turned into the actual villain.
oh, that explains everything. Because there's a GIF I've seen of that show, which I've seen so many times, where it's like Optimus Prime and I'm assuming Megatron have like a truce, and he's like carrying him because like Megatron's like injured, then he just like turns him into a gun, but then turns him back again.
You know, Megatron is actually really stupid, and Starscream is way smarter than him.
No, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I've seen all the jokes.
it's crazy
My
how
favorite
he
joke. Sorry.
betrays him every second he can. And Megatron is really stupid and just keeps him around.
Yeah, it's like Starscream, you've betrayed me again. How
I'm
does he talk?
sorry.
I'm sorry. I
You
haven't
would
really
think that
watched the
you
show.
would think that with that kind of voice, he would be like, a little tiny like white dude, but like he the voice actor for Starscream and Cobra Commander is like this really big Italian fat guy.
No kidding.
Yeah, who's like a comedian. He was actually the original, I believe he was the original Mr. Burns for like the pilot of Simpsons.
Yo, you gotta be shitting me, really?
Yeah. So if you ever wanted
Huh.
to hear what Cobra Commander as Smithers, release the hounds, Smithers.
Smithers through the hounds. I'm just pitching Smithers with like start with Megatron's voice now.
You ever seen the Smurfs?
You know, I remember seeing like one episode of the Smurfs when I was very little, and even as a kid, I was like, "This is just gobbledygook bullshit."
So here's like a language thing. In English, like Gargamel, the villain, has like a "I would destroy the Smurfs and get all the gold." Like he's got that kind of like sniveling, like evil guy voice.
Oh
But
yeah.
in German, he's like, "Ah, Azrael, I will kill the." He sounds more like Dracula. I'm going to kill the Smurfs. And then he has the little
What's his
cat.
What's his deal? The villain of the Smurfs.
He wants to
What's his
put
like?
them. He wants to kill them all. Put them in a cauldron. Do a magic ritual. But well, throwing them in the cauldron kills them, right? Because
Right.
when he does the magic ritual, they turn into blocks of gold.
Oh no shit.
Yeah. So I think
There's a
I think there's one episode, like I think it's supposed to be like the end or something, where they actually all just turn into gold, and he's like, "I did it! I did it!" And they're all like in like fucked up like screaming poses, and he's like,
oh.
"Oh, oh, I killed like a village of people. Oh no!" It like it sinks in like, "Oh, that was a bad thing," and then
Oh, and then what does
he
he?
uses magic to like reverse it.
Oh, and then he redeemed himself by like just
Yeah, but then
stopping.
because it's an episodic show, in the next episode he tries to kill them again because 80s cartoon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The one that gets me is there's a Robot Chicken sketch where he does something like that, but instead of like turning into gold, he just wants to eat them, and like he actually succeeds because like I think they have like a tidal wave, which for to like humans it's just a puddle really,
Yeah,
but he like he collects all their bodies, eats them, and he's just like, oh, and like it was like so underwhelming. He just like bins the rest of them.
yeah. I think the other thing is like, if he like eats them, he can get immortality or whatever. Like it's always like he needs them for a ritual, and the ritual typically kills them. That's the
Yeah,
premise.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Whew.
And he has his cat, and the cat is amazing because it acts like a cat.
Oh, so it doesn't do anything like special. It just acts like a cat.
Kind of. But it acts like a person if a person was a cat.
Mm, okay.
Australia, you lazy piece of shit, come and help me.
You lazy shit.
You lazy you lazy shit.
We just turn him into that vampire from Dragon Soup.
Oh
Evil
yeah,
shit.
Strahd von
Yeah.
Zarevich in D&D. Like this is start gonna be like really nerdy now.
Mm.
He's basically just Dracula but blue.
Yeah, yeah. Because you showed me that, and I just thought it was Dracula, and it's like, oh no, that's what's his name, Strom,
Strahd.
Strahd. Yeah, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
famous from the adventure module Curse of Strahd.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
which is pretty difficult, but also really funny.
speaking of which, that reminds me, since you mentioned modules, shall we announce what's happened so far?
Oh yeah, as of recording this, we have released the D&D module for the Hunni Bunny tier list, or the what is it?
Roleplay.
Yeah, the roleplay list or
Yeah, yeah.
tier. My bad. Goodness, I can't talk now.
It's fine. But yeah, no.
For
So
the
that's
Indiegogo campaign. There we go. Lord.
that's done now. So yeah, if you like donate to that or above, like that's been sent now via email, and we hope you had fun. We hope you have fun with it. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
It might be
since
released. It might be released once the actual comic is released, but as I said, that's going to take a long time. So everybody that donated is gonna get super early and for $5,
yeah, we're probably going to talk about that later on. So yeah,
which was
but
really
yeah, I hope.
it was a real little bit of a time crunch to get it going, but it got there and
Yeah,
it came out pretty good.
honestly, the artwork like you've done for it is insane. Like I really like
I
it.
went way too hard on like the chain dog.
Oh, the dot! Like when I saw that, I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I didn't expect you to go this. I mean, I did, but I didn't expect it to be that hard. I was like, "Oh, okay, nice."
Which is pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, man. But yeah, so yeah, for now, it's going to be exclusive to people that donated, but we'll see what happens later on. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I also speaking of D&D, I actually hosted my first one for the first time.
How'd that
So
go?
So it went well. The short version is it went well. The only critique I did get was I was kind of robotic when it came to combat, where instead of being like, because when like you slash at the monster, you'd be like, you take your rapier and then you slash at its stomach. Like I didn't really do that. I was just like counting numbers.
You were like,
So they said like
you deal 10 points of damage. Next person.
kind of yeah. So they said like stop less of that and more like role playing, which is fine.
Okay, well,
But
what you need to do as somebody who has done this is you need to ask them, do you want this to be funny or do you want this to be violent? You know? Because, you could be like, oh, yeah, you bonk him on the noggin and a big dent appears in his helmet as you see his eyes roll around in his head. Or you could
yeah,
just be like, I sever his head and a fucking fountain of viscera blasts out of it. And you're like, you know,
yeah.
so that's important to know because if you do like the really gory thing and somebody's not ready for it, they're gonna be like, "Oh my god!"
Oh yeah, totally. Like I am communicating with the players, and another criticism I had too was that I have like a shit ton of maps like ready to go to use, and like I was only really using maps because apparently sometimes you can just like have an image if like if he's in like a woods, so just like have a picture of trees or something like that.
Yeah.
But I had like I overused maps, and they were like, yeah, you don't have to really do that.
Oh
Unless
no,
there's,
for like if you're like we're traveling in the woods until
yeah,
until there's combat, you don't really need to show them any images.
yeah.
Yeah. Until there's combat, because like if you just like yes the beautiful woods, a delicate like array of trees line the trotted path directly in front of you. You hear the babbling of a stream, though you don't entirely see it. You know, you can say something like that, and then somebody could be like, "I want to find that stream," and it's like, well, roll a nature check,
Yeah.
roll a nature like an investigation check, and it's like, oh yes, you find the stream. It's a little babbling brook, and along the side of it are cavalcade of moss and mushrooms. And you're like, oh, neat. Like, but you don't need to have a map for that. It's only when like the Pokemon music comes on, like when the combat starts.
Okay then.
When that's when you like pull out a map. It's like roll initiative, boys. And then whenever you do that, like when the map shows up, it becomes more exciting.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay then. Well, I'll bear that in mind then. So I just need, if anything, I just need to get like generic looking pictures of shit, like scenery. So.
Yeah.
But it went well so far. I will say one thing. It was really funny because one of the players. So, you know, so one of the players is like a fighter, and he. So in the very first fight they got into, he used a flintlock pistol and he actually hit the thing he was at gaming for. You know.
Yeah.
However, after that, he could not hit shit in any other fight afterwards.
That's role playing, baby.
But what made it even funnier too was that his character is a quote ex-guard. So then we were kind of like ripping into him, being like, are you an ex-guard because you couldn't hit anything, you know? So
You see, but like that's fun. That's you making fun of the character is role playing because that's not in the rules, right? You engaging with another person and pretending to be someone else. That's not in the rules.
Yeah.
That's the actual role playing part. The rules is just so that way it's not like a circle jerk. You know, like, oh, I have a magic shield. Well, I have a magic shield breaker. No, the rules are there so that way when you like hit somebody, there's consequences to your actions.
absolutely, yeah. And not only that too, but I've also been reading the actual like DM guide from 2014. So
Yeah,
it's
there's
been helping
a
a
lot
lot.
of people don't read that because I mean, if you've played a lot of D&D, you really only need. So if anybody actually wants to get into Dungeons and Dragons, the quickest way and the cheapest way is to just get the player's handbook.
I have that too.
The player's handbook is really all you need to like get the rules and how to make a character.
Yeah, it's just my case is unique because the reason why I'm DMing is because for a game that everybody seems to play, no one seems to be available to like have me join their campaign, you know, as a player.
Yeah.
So then I got like super pissed off that like I can't get into like one of the most popular tabletop games in the world, you know. So then I was like, why don't I just post the fucking thing? So
Well, the most popular tabletop game is the fucking Warhammer, and that's a different kettle of fish.
no, I'm good.
I think Space Crusade is pretty good though, but once again, nobody plays it. That's the thing.
Well, that was one too where we played it and I fucking loved it, and then all of a sudden, miraculously, no one like wants to play anymore. So you know,
Yeah, well, you can chalk that
So-
one up to me just like.
wonder if I should host it.
I mean, it's not it's just the setup takes forever.
Right.
The setup takes forever. The game itself is like super easy to learn. Oh, we're talking about Space Crusade. It's a 90s board game version of Warhammer 40K to get people introduced into the game series. It's pretty good.
It's pretty. Oh yeah, I loved it. I
It
do remember.
streamlines a lot of the goober rules. But yeah.
I do remember when we played it. So I did something that apparently is like really hard to do, which was I was apparently clashing swords with a dreadnought.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's a giant robot. At least in Space Crusade. In actual the Warhammer lore, Dreadnought is a guy that's put into a giant mechanized robotic coffin, and he can live forever, but to like save on power and energy and shit, they just shut him down. So not only are these dreadnoughts like things that like they're mech suits and they shoot like giant chain guns, sometimes someone will turn them on just to like, because they're so old and they retain all of their knowledge, they'll just be like, hey, Dreadnought, tell me a story about this battle that happened like 10,000 years ago. And it'll be like, ah, yes, sit down and let me tell you a tale of high adventure. And then like, it will recite, it's basically like a walking library of like first-hand events.
That's insane. Because like, so it's not always just like war machines then.
Well, really it's just plastic figures on a table, and you roll dice to make them shoot at each other. That's the game.
Right.
But
Right.
this game has so much lore behind it because Games Workshop took the piss,
Hmm.
and I think it paid off for them because they made a really interesting world out of it.
Yeah. It always scares the shit out of me, like getting into Warhammer, because, and this isn't me like mocking anybody, but it kind of just it does strike me as the poor man's hobby in a sense of like you will go poor if you actually invest in this
Oh no,
game.
no, no! It's a rich man's hobby because you will become poorer if you don't have money to play it.
Right.
I mean, to be fair, all you really need to play the game is like cardboard cutouts of the figurines, and you can just print that off.
Yeah. Just don't people get like really anal if you went to like an actual shop though to like play
I
those?
mean, yeah, but like, are you really going to start your game with a whole bunch of people that like are just gonna annihilate you? You're probably gonna start with a friend.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
yeah.
Okay. I'm just
Could probably fill in that blank space later on.
I'm just checking continuity real quick. Okay. Yep.
But yeah, I've had a fantastic week. A few things happened. Well, so yeah, there was the D&D, what we just said. But then one of my favorite games of all time, turns out there's like a fan patch for it that actually makes it playable, which is Saints Row 2. That game, like, there's a sad story behind that game in regards to the PC version, which I'm not going to get into right now. But I guess the short version is that the publisher just let us down in regards to get actually fixing the damn thing. But yeah, no, someone's like fan patched it, and so far I basically defeated two of the gangs, so I got one more gang to go, and then obviously the epilogue shit. It works flawlessly so far.
I never got around to playing the second one, mainly because that was like a game that my cousin had, and he's a massive piece of work. So I was just like that game was kind of like tainted by somebody I
Your
just didn't
cousin.
like.
I mean, that happens, like if you get exposed to it. Like I have a friend who hates Resident Evil 5 because the way we like introduced it to him was like really like cringy and stupid.
You know what's
But
sad? I learned how to fight just so that one day I could kick his butt.
no shit, really.
Yeah. And you know
Like
what the
real.
sad thing is? The moment that I got good enough at fighting to kick pretty much anyone's ass,
Yeah.
I never see the guy ever again, and he's in and out of jail. So
Oh,
I will never actually have that moment where I get to kick his ass.
I don't know if I should say I'm sorry to hear that, given the context of the story. But
No, no, it's a good thing, because that's
yeah,
assault.
yeah.
That's assault, but
That kind of reminds me of that weird comedy film where a kid fucking hates, like a kid was like, there's a comedy film where like a kid was always getting into trouble and like the judge like absolutely hated him, and then when he becomes an adult, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna finally kick his ass. Oh wait, this judge died a long time ago. Oh,
yeah. And he's like, yeah, it's just a really sad thing. It's just, he turned into,
yeah.
and you know what, you know, there,
I'm sorry.
he has a sister, and she didn't turn out to be a piece of work. He had brain problems, and they never got
Oh,
fixed. So he just kind of
that's sad.
went and did his own fucking thing, which is a shame.
It happens, yeah.
I mean, life has many doors, Ed Boy. He could always like come back and like turn normal. And
Yeah.
that's the ultimate joke. He comes back and like fixes his life, and then I just knock his teeth out the second I see him. It's like, I'm a new man, and I've turned a new leaf, and I'm really sorry that I messed with you as a kid. Yeah, it's really cool. Bam!
Oh, what he'll do instead, and this is gonna like be an absolute piss take, is he comes out of jail, but then he ends up doing what every like prisoner does, which is make a YouTube account and get rich by talking about his stories.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna. I know who this person is. That's not gonna happen. It is sad too, and you know what? There's a possibility that family will like see this. I hope that he gets better, but boy, boy, oh
It's a bit,
boy,
it's hard to have sympathy, I
it is a
guess.
very, it is, it's not a completely lost cause, but it's getting there, man.
Mm. I was kind of blessed where I didn't have any family that was like that. So,
Well, he's the only other like male that has like the bloodline. If you give a shit about something like that,
oh, okay.
I don't. I don't. If it ends, it
No,
ends. Like there's like seven, almost in, you know, if the trajectory of people keeps going, there's going to be like 15 billion people in the span of like a few years, like in a decade.
yeah. I just, I'm not ready to have kids right now.
No one's ever ready.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I'm smart enough to know it's like I need to. I can't really look after myself right now. So yeah, I need to.
You
I
know
need to
what?
make sure I can look after myself first before I can have a kid.
And you know
So
what? That's fair enough. And you
yeah,
know what? If you
I'm
ever make a
mature.
whole bunch of money, you can do the old British tradition of being an
Having made like
extraordinarily wealthy old man and having like a hot fucking hello wife.
like a trophy wife.
Yeah. And then the other old British tradition of being a rich guy who has children and you never spend time with them.
You know, there is one position when it comes to parenting which I really don't want to be a part of, which is the type of parenting where you're so strapped for cash you have to work like 3 jobs a day. It's like you know, I would imagine I love my children, but I'm not. I don't want to like kill myself. You know, so
I mean, one thing that I can respect for that is, you put something into this world and you need to take accountability for that. And once
yeah,
you have a child, you know, if you move, your life is basically over until
it kind of
they're
is.
18, and at that point they're still gonna live in the house with you, right?
Mm.
At this
That's what
point.
we.
But the thing is, it's
Yeah,
like, you want to give them the best shot ever, even if they turn out like, my cousin, or something doesn't go right in life. You just
yeah,
want to give them the best shot and also give them a childhood, because there's a
of
lot of
course,
people
yeah,
who have just become very bitter people because their childhoods were ruined.
yeah. I mean, I tried. Don't get me wrong. It's just like it kind of just scares me the idea of like I have to like kill myself in the fucking mines just to like make ends meet.
I don't think you have to.
Yeah,
There's ways around it. Like, it's difficult, but also easy.
I'm sure. I'm sure if you're smart enough, you could figure out a way. But no, I'm not ready for that shit.
It also,
That shit.
depends on
Yeah.
whether or not your kid is a fucking absolute psycho child. I was an absolute psycho child growing up.
Do you ever have that like? I mean, we kind of talked about this off camera, but like, do you ever have that like phobia of like you end up having a kid and they end up becoming like the next dictator, but you don't like know it yet?
Yeah, yeah, I had that fear. Like, you have the next Mussolini.
Yeah, like again, you know, like you in a way you can kind of control their destiny, but you can't because they also the human brain. You know,
The
it's very
human
hard to like
brain.
the human brain. But it's just that thing too. It's like you know you could do your best, but then it'd be like you know these people. You know what I mean? It's just like oh no, what did I do?
Oh
What
yeah,
did
of
I do
course.
to create this?
I mean, to be fair, like, those individuals typically come from like really bad households.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
You know, like our cute little mustache man, our
Mm,
cute little Austrian painter man. Yeah, he came from a household where, like, his moms kept dying or getting divorced, and his dad
yeah.
constantly beat them as children.
Yeah, and it's like he kind of
So,
didn't stand a chance in a way. So
if you think that a good person comes out of like a household like that, it's possible. It is possible, but it's a coin toss. It's either A, I'm not going to be like that, or B, I am going to be just a massive turd.
yeah, because there are people out there where they actually try their best to fight their way out of that like situation.
Yeah. Typically, people with like siblings because they don't do it for them. They do it because, they want to help their brothers and sisters.
Right.
It's like a thing, like a camaraderie thing.
Yep. There's a guy I know who had like a weird upbringing, but he's actually like the nicest person you could ever talk to, and it makes me wonder how the fuck he actually turned out the way he did, like nice, because I'm not going to name names, but there's a guy I know where his family were like extremely fucking racist. Like, to give you an idea how like absurdly racist they are, did I ever tell you about that weird film Romper Stomper, where it was like the skinheads film with what's that New
It
Zealand
must have
actor?
been a long time ago, dude. Because
Yeah,
it
well, it
sounds
was.
familiar, and I'm pretty sure you showed me a trailer for it.
Yeah, Romper Stomper is Kurt Russell. Was it Kurt Russell? No, Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It's like his earliest movie.
One of his earliest ones.
I
He's
know
in
what
an
you're talking about.
Australian. He's in an Australian film that's all about skinheads, and like this guy I know in real life, he was like, his like family was so absurdly like racist that they actually said to him, "We're gonna have you watch this film so you can like learn all the racist stuff, basically." And like
And then
fast forward
it turns out that the movie is like anti-racism.
to an extent, yeah.
It'll be
Well,
like,
actually, it
because
is, yeah.
it shows you that that thing is awful, and I guess that must have stuck in his brain. It's like, all these characters like either die or go to jail or turn
Oh
their
yeah,
lives around. It's weird.
there's a kid in there who's also a skinhead, and he gets fucking shot by the police.
Yeah, I mean they're fucking like, they're gangsters.
Yeah.
A lot of them are gangsters. It's like their motivation isn't like money and bitches, but like it's just hatred.
Oh yeah, and like the lead skinhead, like he unironically like reads like Mein Kampf, and he's like idolizes it,
Shitty
in
book.
the film.
Shitty book.
Oh, it's
Garbage.
stupid. Like
Garbage.
you told me about it. It's stupid.
I read you some excerpts of it. I was like, this is not a smart man. These are the ramblings of an insane person.
Well, not only that too, but like the book jumps around more than fucking Pulp Fiction as well. And it's just like,
Yeah, it's all over the place. Because he'll be talking about his upbringing, and then he'll be talking about like the national assembly of Germany, and then he'll go back to like how his father treated him, and then he'll be like, and then the best thing about the First World War, and you're just like, oh my god, stay on focus. This is what chapters are for, my guy. That book is pretty bad. The one thing that I like take comfort in knowing is that every copy of that book sold as a new print goes directly to Israel.
yeah, because it's like owned by like an Israeli kind of company. I think.
It's owned by the state of Israel. So every copy of Mein Kampf you buy goes directly to the people that
He hated.
exactly, which is that's poetic justice.
It is, yeah.
If you're a racist piece of shit, you're actually funding the other guy. I wonder if there are any like political YouTubers that do that, where they just grift really hard and then fund like the people that their audience hates.
Yeah.
There has to be at least
them,
one Robin Hood dude.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, not only that too, but I imagine they probably make that bullshit so that way they can like make ends meet like financially. So. Oh. It's just been a good week. It's also worth mentioning too, I'm actually off this week from work, so I can actually like relax. And it is the hottest the UK's been in a long time. Like, oh, that was what I wanted to get into too. So I have a tripod for my phone that I can use to like record stuff if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I was outside today setting it up in the garden, and then I recorded a video, and it works well. Tripod works well. But then what happened was the button you tapped to like record went grey, like I couldn't choose it. Couldn't click on it, and basically the phone said, "Warning: device is hot. Recording has been disabled since it will affect quality." And I'm like, I have never had my phone basically tell me that it's overheating because of the heat.
Also, when you record video and you have like, oh, this is a thing that I have to talk about now. I went to film school.
Yeah.
If you have something like a DSLR camera or a camera that's really flat, right?
Yeah.
The way that it can do there's two ways you can like increase like the camera lens, right? A, you have like a really sophisticated camera lens, or B, you just put one on, right? So phones
Yeah.
have very like sophisticated camera lenses, and they have like a little tiny like glass inside them in order for them to like reflect the image into the sensor to create the image, right? So the thing is that because it's flat, if you're recording video, it will actually start to heat up in general.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've noticed that even in the cold, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the
For it.
things that you can do if you're going to be recording outside is you take a plastic cup or like a plastic milk jug, you cut both ends off, and then you cut a hole through the bottom where like the tripod attaches to the base. So that way you're
Yeah.
basically creating a little umbrella for the phone or
Ah,
the
because I did
camera.
think about that.
It
I did think
also
about
it
something like
also
that.
kind of protects it from like rain. Like if it started pissing rain, you're basically creating an umbrella.
Yeah, because when that happened, there was part of me that was like, I feel like I need some kind of like umbrella or a parasol or something. I'd imagine there's a lot you could probably teach me if I started doing video recordings.
Um, I think it was that wasn't Sir Laurence Olivier. It was somebody else. It was I'm trying to remember who it was. He made wow, my brain actually did a brain fart. He did oh god, that's gonna bug me. Orson Welles, there we go.
Yeah.
Orson Welles said that everything there is to know about camera work can be learned in about 2 hours.
Oh, I can imagine so. Yeah.
Yeah, you point it here. Uh, this is how framing works. You know, you either show a lot more sky or a lot more ground, and then the characters need to be positioned to where they can be seen. You need to have enough lights for the image to process. Otherwise, it's going to be grainy.
Yeah.
It's about it, really.
Yeah.
Make sure
Yeah,
people
that's
are
probably gonna
make sure people are in focus, and that's about it. Like,
that's probably gonna be another hobby I get into. Is just like recording videos.
I mean, shit.
Uh,
It's
th- th-
like at this point in time, the standards for content is so low that you could make an entire series about absolutely nothing, and people will put it on to go to sleep.
oh yeah, I've done that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Eh,
the world is your fucking oyster, really.
Kind of is, yeah, because like I've got. I mean, here's the thing. Obviously, my main objective is to like do the comic, but then the sky's the limit, and as a creative, there's always that like it's almost like a curse being a creative person because like you got so many ideas, but you only have so much time to really like execute them as well. So you have to like choose what you want to do. So yeah.
There we
Oh,
go.
and that yeah, you know what? Just keep it like that. Stream. God, looking at this made me realize like it's so funny when you like make stuff and then like it kind of just like grows into something a lot bigger because like I think when I originally like conceived this comic, I think she was originally just going to be a background character, and then I was like, I don't think you really see that many like I mean, unless you play D&D, but it's just like yeah, an orcish bard is like a main character. I don't think you really see that. And then there was a bit more like nuance to it, but I don't want to go into it right now. So
I mean, yeah, it's. I mean, it's a little bit iconoclastic. It's against the iconography because most of the time bards are either like the little people in this universe.
Mhm.
They're either like halflings or they're just really charismatic dudes like humans
yeah,
or like elves or something.
yeah,
Anything outside of that, especially if it's not a typically charismatic race of people in D&D.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I imagine when you make a character, you could technically be like, "Oh, I'm a dwarf, rogue." When in my head, a dwarf is typically like a brutish kind of like race. So
I mean, here's another one. The fucking pixie barbarian.
pixie barbarian. How would that? Wait, isn't a pixie like super small?
Exactly.
Wait, that's like a fairy though, isn't it?
Yes.
So wait, are we talking like how big is as a pixie in D&D? Because is that like
Probably about from like the center of the palm of your hand all the way to your thumb.
pixie
Like
barbarian?
you could fit it in your hand. Yeah.
I like to imagine that she has like that Ant-Man strength where she's super tiny, but like it's like getting hit by just a regular sized person.
Well, no, I mean, you could do it like that, or you know, it flies up to you and then like cuts your artery in your neck.
Yeah.
You know, with like a cocktail olive as a club or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I like to imagine a tavern brawler has a pixie would just be her like picking up like pints and just like throwing it at people instead of the chairs.
But yeah, that's like that's when you start making some really interesting characters. For instance, one of our friends, he's running a Star Wars campaign. And the Star Wars campaign actually, he has one Jedi, and you're like, oh wow, that's you have a balance of characters. You have like a rogue, a guy with a gun. You have like all of the other things, a droid, and then you have one Jedi. That makes sense, right? Until you find out that this Jedi is an Ewok.
I was gonna say because in Star Wars they're never like force sensitive, as far as I'm aware.
I mean, they were just kind of like an afterthought to sell plushies to
Yeah.
girls, you know.
Oh.
No, it's just like like in the scene where he's like, "These are not the droids you're looking for. These are not the droids we're looking for. Move along, move along." You know that scene,
Yeah.
the 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 Jedi mind trick. Could you imagine if like the Ewok just like waved his hand and like the stormtrooper goes nub nub
Nub,
nub
nub,
nub
nub, nub.
nub, and then yes, Luke. I too can just melt someone's brain. I can just do that. That's a thing I can do. We only use it like 3 times in the entire series, but it's an insanely powerful thing we can just do.
Yeah. An Ewok Jedi. No, an Ewok Sith Lord would be really funny.
An Ewok. No. You have an Ewok Jedi, and then you have a Jawa Sith Lord. It'd be the battle of the Short Kings.
Yeah. You know what I realized when the Wookiees were insanely like ridiculous was I got a Finnish friend who played like the MMO game. I think it was called the SWTOR or the Knights of the Old Republic. It's something along those lines,
KOTOR,
basically.
yeah.
KOTOR, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a sequel MMO called SWTOR, and he told me it was like, God, I'll never forget having to go to Kashyyyk for the first time. And I was like, oh yeah, what makes you say that? And it was like, well, think about it. It would have been like 3 hours of just.
You know what bugs me about that?
Was
Everybody can apparently speak Wookiee.
okay, so
However, Wookiees can't speak English.
okay, so yeah, so you can apparently like learn it and just know it, but it is a language you need to learn because I remember in the Star Wars film, like Flynn didn't know what it was saying, so
Yeah, like everyone knows, like, and not only that, Chewbacca knows English. Like he responds to Han Solo speaking in English.
yeah.
I think that was actually a genius thing in the Solo movie where he goes like, "Rup, rup, rup, rup," and then like Chewbacca stops attacking him because he's like, "Oh, you speak Wookiee."
Yeah. I love in Force Awakens where they're on that like snow planet and like it's just like it's just like, oh really, you're cold.
Trash compactor.
Trash compactor.
I really think that scene that they cut out, it's sad that that was cut out. You know, the one where like
Was
the big silver lady, like she betrays the characters and then dies by being pushed down a pit.
no, yeah. Nub nub. Yeah, nub nub. Beep, bop,
Oh man,
beep.
you know what's even more messed up? Probably a good generation of kids that don't know the Nub Nub song because it's been cut out of the special editions.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
God
they
damn it.
replaced it with like score music, which is lame.
Just leave it alone, god damn it.
Nub Nub, eek up, boop up, scupped up, boobity beep, skidup dup doo doo da. Watch, we're gonna get copyright struck
Yeah, which means that if we get copyright struck for singing that song, that
for
means that like it
singing
takes no effort.
Nub Nub,
Yeah. So
the
I guess
Ewok
that
victory song.
I guess they won't put that in the Fortnite festival, but they will put the the song where it's like
My my favorite thing about Nub Nub,
yeah,
that's an insane thing to say out loud. My favorite thing about the song Nub Nub
yeah.
is the fact that it swells into an orchestra and then into the John Williams Star Wars song. Because they're
Oh
like,
yeah.
La la lucha da, la la lucha da, da 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 da. So stupid, but it's great. It actually sounds okay.
Oh yeah, I could like unironically listen to Star Wars music. Even the stupid ones. Except for that one in the special edition, it's like I've been with the
Whoa. Yeah, the
I don't know.
Jabba's palace. Man, those special editions are really bad.
Oh yeah, it's stupid. It's like actually
You know what's my favorite thing though?
what's that?
My favorite thing is actually the fact that the movie that got the least messed with was Empire Strikes Back. In fact, I think that the special edition is slightly better than the original version of Empire because they fixed a lot of the effects. Like Cloud City doesn't look like it's made out of cardboard.
Yeah.
There's and they added more of like the Wampa, which is like
Oh, the snow
the snow
monster.
monster. Yeah,
Yeah, wasn't that like mostly off camera in the
yeah, because
original?
the effect broke on them, so they just had to like film around it.
Yeah. God, it honestly makes me wish that. I wish you know what would be the ultimate like thing you could ever do for a film is like customize how you want it to look. Imagine being able to customize the Star Wars film so that you'll be like, yeah, this special edition effect looks like a piece of shit. Although I do like that edition. You
Um,
know what I mean?
you know the guy who made Apocalypse Now? I forgot his name.
Yeah.
So he put out a movie recently, which was an artsy fartsy like poo poo movie,
Hmm.
but the concept of it was really neat. Where at a certain like before the movie, you could like text a certain number, and then that would change the ending of the movie.
Oh, how would that work? Like
Because
context?
if enough people vote for a certain ending,
Oh, wait. So
like the movie
now,
will change based off of how many people vote for something.
oh, okay. Now is this kind of like a theme park kind of thing where you have to like go there to do it,
Oh no,
or
it's at the movie theater. Now,
oh,
bear in mind this didn't work at
mm,
all,
I was gonna
but
say
I
like I
thought that
can't
it's
imagine.
like the fact that he tried, it's neat.
I actually do think that there will be a day where we will hopefully get like a choose your own adventure kind of film, but it has to work in a way where it doesn't really like intrude as much in the film experience.
Did you know a lot of people use VR headsets to go to the virtual movie theater?
Oh, I did something similar with an old VR thing I had where I would watch films in VR in like a virtual like film theater.
Yeah. God, you know what would be really cool though? If
Was that?
somebody made a movie for VR where it uses one of those like 3D cameras, like those circle
Yeah.
cameras where you can circle the entire, because then you can watch a movie while looking around in a room.
Yeah, it'll be difficult to make it as well as, interesting. But I feel like,
It would be the only one.
yeah. But the thing is, though, how expensive would that be, though?
Well, how much is a 360 camera?
Well, I mean, going to see it.
However, see, if you're the first guy making it, you get to set the price for everyone else.
Yeah. And then, if it succeeds, you make bank, and then you might change the industry for better or for worse.
No, because you're going to change it for worse because the next people are going to be some like rich jerks that didn't get it who are like, "Oh, this is all we need to do to make money. Quick, like hire somebody to make these."
Oh, oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh, speaking of which, I got some bullshit to talk about in regards to creatives and like corporate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was watching a documentary about D&D, and it was more specifically the artwork about like for the modules on the front covers and things like that. There was like a time period where like the management was like getting in the way of creating shit, and it was like really aggravating. Where it'd be like, okay, guys, you did a good job on the drawings of previous things, but what we want you to do is when you make the next thing, because I think it was like new management came in, and it was like, okay, then make sure you use all the colors next time. To which the guy, who's the artist, is like, so you want this to be like a rainbow effect, then, you know? And then you had a guy where it was like, oh, what was the word? Like a rose tinted thing. So it's like, you want this to look like pink, like a Valentine's Day thing. So it was just horse shit. But yeah.
It's a guy who got the job, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. That's the classic
Yep.
death throes of every company ever.
Oh yeah. And this was before Wizards brought the company. And speaking, and that was also another thing
TSR
too.
when it was
TSR, yeah. Not only that too, a lot of that art nearly went missing. Like it nearly got destroyed because this was like that weird time period where, like, I mean, this still happens with some companies where you draw something, but then they keep it in quote unquote a vault, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, oh yeah, you made this thing. Too bad it's ours. So fuck you. So bye. And then it'd either probably never get used. So the building that all this was stored in was being cleared out one day, and people were just like throwing this shit in the trash. And then they called somebody up. It's like, hey, we found this thing. It was this like huge like canvas painting behind like a filing cabinet. Do you want to have a look at this? And the guy looked at it. It's like, oh my fucking god, this is a thing I drew back in the 80s. And then like he was like, wait a minute, you were going to throw this out. Did you throw everything else out? It's like, oh yeah, we're about to throw it in the dumpster out there. It's like, wait. And then so much stuff nearly got lost from from the late 70s to the 80s basically.
I
Like
mean, yeah,
a
but
lot of that
because I
went
mean,
missing.
if you're company, if you're a company and all you're worried about is like making the money, and
Yeah.
this isn't really making money anymore, and then all of this shit is taking up space because it's all physical media. There's a part of
Yeah.
you that's gonna be like, yeah, so we're gonna just throw a lot of this shit away.
It wasn't. I don't think it was even that. I could be wrong though, but yeah, like everything, like all the classic D&D stuff that you've seen, like that nearly went missing. So just like hundreds of like paintings could have been lost if it wasn't for that one guy being called up.
That's crazy. I mean, the
Just made me
first guy. I
realize.
mean, also the first guy to like really own. Like, I don't know what it is for like other places, but like for comic books, like the first person to actually like own their original like art when they were making comics was actually like the guy who made Spawn, I think.
Oh, Todd McFarlane.
Yeah, Todd McFarlane.
Yeah.
Because I think he was just like, I hate this. Me and a few other guys are gonna make Image Comics, and they made Image
Mhm.
Comics, and he was like, yeah, I don't want to do this either. And then he left and made McFarlane
Toys,
Industry
yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
McFarlane Toys.
Oh yeah, he's like, like he's actually kind of like really inspiring in a way because the way he goes about business is really funny. Because he's the type of person where no matter what, he will get the deal. So he like goes to a length where it's almost like psychological. So for example, if he's like in a meeting, like a physical meeting where he's like sitting at the table, he makes it his mission to not drink water that day whatsoever. And he even admits too, it's like, that sounds unhealthy. However, the reason why is so that way there'll come a point where the guy he's like doing the business with does not want to like take the deal. So he'll do this thing where he'll bring in a jug of water and have that guy drink it so that way eventually like his bladder gets full. And then he'll also start like pouring water in front of him so that way like because he's no doubt his opponent has no doubt drank water before coming into the meeting. So he'll like constantly like tease him with water until the guy's like, all right, fine, Todd, fine. Oh, you can have the deal. You can have the fucking deal. Also, where's your bathroom?
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite thing about Image Comics and Todd McFarlane was when him and like all the guys who founded it like left Marvel, they had a job interview with DC, but it wasn't your typical job interview. It was them getting into because apparently the people at DC did want them because they did see what they were able to do with Marvel. They had this job interview, but it wasn't so they could get the job. It was them basically like flexing, be like, hey, by the way, we're having this meeting, so just to let you know, we're not working for you. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, yeah, no, this whole meeting, we've sat you down just to tell you to your face, we're not working for you. It was like, it's like the most, like, I guess you could call it an anti-job interview because, they're offering you like a job. It's like, no.
I did that for a job once. They did one of those, it's like a mass hiring. So, like, they bring a whole bunch of people to do one big interview.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just charismatic, and you know that you're at least one of the best people or like one of the smartest people in the room when before they get to you for the question, everybody's kind of like making up stuff. They're just like, oh yeah, well, you see, like, I think the big thing for me is like I try to work hard and like all of this, and then like I just bring up, yeah, so I used to work at a gas station, and if you need me to like actually do money orders or stuff like that I can do that. Another thing that I'm pretty good at. And then like after that, if everyone copies what you said to some degree, like, yeah, it's kind of like what he said,
Yeah, so they
that
didn't
means
like...
that you stand out in a crowd of people.
Yeah, so you actually know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a similar thing with I know this is like holding boxes, but I definitely made a bit of a mark at the first, like the current place I'm working at. Like originally I worked on like the shop floor before I moved on to like something better.
Mm-hmm.
But because I had experience doing like practically the same thing, the guy, the supervisor who saw me work, like I knew how to do something like testing the strength of the boxes, like stability. I knew that like, oh, what's this little cane thing here? Oh, this is to like grab things from afar. Okay, I knew how to do that. And this was day one. Like it was barely an hour in, and I already knew what to do. And like the supervisor at the time was like, "I want that guy.
I want him.
So
You want this cake?
yeah,
I want him.
yeah.
You want I want that cake.
To give you an idea of like how efficient I was, like if you see a parcel that's like damaged or like being ripped open, that's like obviously that can't go out. So then I saw one, I was like, "Hey, yeah, this is ripped open." He's like, "Oh shit, okay, yeah, nice work, thank you." So I definitely made an impression that day, and I certainly made another impression with my current job because when they interviewed me, they didn't bother interviewing anybody else. So definitely a bit of an ego boost, I won't lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I mean, also, that was the one interview that I didn't even really take seriously because I was like, I was so jaded at that point when it came to like jobs. I was like, I don't think I'm ever like job interviews. No one ever gets any of these. But at a certain point, I felt so cocky that I was just like, there's like, well, what do you like? How do you deal? This was like, I think of it was how do you deal with customers that like are just really awful? And some people are giving advice like the standard answer, which is like calmly just like try to keep your cool and whatever. I was just like, well, I think that what you don't understand about doing like a cashier job is that you see hundreds of people every single day, which is like not, and you engage with them too. So it's like not a really normal thing. And you actually do kind of become like a frontier psychiatrist for a lot of these folks because you see them every day. And
Yeah.
the thing is like somebody new that comes in could be really angry, and that could be your first impression of them. You need to set that aside because they could have had the worst day of their life. Like, they found out that their mom has cancer, or their airplane flight to Hawaii was canceled, or the car got wrecked and it wasn't even their fault. So they could have had the worst day ever for whatever their worst day is. And then, they just really want to like get their shit and get out of the store. And, some of that frustration could leak onto you, And
like
instead of getting mad about it, you just gotta like really understand that you're not the main character of your story. And like that answer, everyone's like, oh.
I mean, life is funny like that. Like right now, like I've had such a good time like today, but then somewhere out there, someone's probably like dying on the pavement. Like that's just how life is. Like you never know. Like your best day could be someone's worst day of their life.
Here's the worst. You just quoted Street Fighter the movie.
Did I seriously?
Yeah.
Wait.
Remember when
Is this the animated one or the
the live action one?
Oh really? What did I say?
The day that Bison graced your village, for you must have been the worst day of your life. But to me, it was Tuesday.
That's always the best when you quote something almost verbatim. You don't even know it.
To be fair, that line goes hard. That movie sucks, but that line is awesome.
And by Raul Julia,
yeah.
Raul Julia as M. Bison is the best part of that film, hands down. Like, honestly, if I just watched a compilation of him on screen, I'd be good, honestly, because I will say that film intrigues me though, because it is a piece of shit, but goddamn, can I watch that sometimes? Like,
it's not okay. There's bad, entertaining bad, and then there's just bad, right?
Right.
Entertaining bad means that like it's bad. It's crap. Yeah. It's like a McDonald's cheeseburger. It's bad. It's the worst thing ever. It's probably a yoga mat and a little bit of ground beef. But boy, when you eat it though.
I also find it really like weirdly inconsistent how some characters look like the game and some don't. So like Zangief just looks like the game. It's Zangief, minus the fact he's a villain. But just like Ken and Ryu are just guys, just people,
Or just, like the... We're talking about the Jean-Claude Van Damme epic that is Street Fighter.
Yeah, like...
There's also Dalsum. He gets the Indian guru exploded into him.
Yeah, like at the end of the film, he kind of has like the jewelry and like the look, and I'm like,
yeah.
So him getting ass blasted in the face by his computer made him like that?
Yeah, like he's just a normal like scientist, and then like the building explodes.
Yeah,
and then he becomes an Indian guru. It's really weird.
He's not, by the way, anybody watching this who hasn't seen the film, he's not exaggerating. Like, he's not bullshitting when he's talking about this. Like, he just looks like it after the explosion.
There's a great scene in that movie where they're getting a live feed of a truck full of dynamite going towards them. And, like, Zangief just goes, change the channel! Boom!
Quick! Change the channel! And I was just like,
and everyone looks at him like, what the
That's actually a really good film. Good beer.
It's actually a really good film.
No.
Best movie.
Look, I can watch this film. It's dog shit. But
Also,
I love
Jean-Claude
it.
Van Damme in that movie, like taking the piss, like we're gonna kick that son of a bitch bison's ass. So the next bison wannabe.
and then, and then when he's like actually on his way to like do that, it's like this is the ass kicking. Oh, how did he say it when he's on the feed? It's like this is the collection agency bison, and your ass is overdue, and it's mine.
There's also like the British guy from the UN who's like, "You have you lost your mind? No, you lost your balls."
Balls. You know what? Fuck you. I'm watching that film.
Why did we shit on it? It's the best movie ever made. Why did we shit on it? It's the best movie ever made.
You know what? Have you? What if I was to tell you that that film nearly started a coup?
Really? Oh yeah, that's right. Because they were driving down the river in like full military shit, and like a country was just like,
Yeah, because this is in like Thailand, I think.
Yeah, it was in like Thailand.
Tensions were high. Tensions were really high at the time, and it was just like, you know, we originally were going to have helicopters fly in this scene. If we have a helicopter flying in this time frame right now, we might actually start a coup with a Street Fighter movie
in this middle of nowhere podunk town that's like possibly oppressed by the government.
Oh yeah, like that film.
Like,
this is probably just going to be us talking about the Street Fighter movie because the behind the scenes is actually just as entertaining as like that shitty film.
That movie's so crazy. That movie is so fucking crazy. Also, they made like E Honda a Samoan or like a Hawaiian dude.
Yeah, he was Hawaiian dude. DJ is a villain, whereas Balrog or M Bison, which one you want to go by, is a hero for some odd reason.
There's a lot. Oh god, it's just so much. There's so much that goes on.
I could talk about this all day, like how a lot of the actors were like poor as fuck at the time, like the Ryu and Ken actors, they were nobodies, and then it was just like we got treated like kings because we get all this like fancy food, we're getting fucking massages, a lot of the cast were men getting like having women walk on them, it's just like yeah.
God.
Yeah.
There's another. Oh god, there's so many movies.
Right?
There's so many movies where you know that they're bad, they're terrible, but like Commando. Commando is not a good movie. Commando is kind of a really shitty movie.
It's stupid, but has that energy at times though.
Oh, dude, like, come on, Bennett, you don't want to shoot me. You want to stick a knife in me? Look me in the eyes and see what goes on when you turn it. I don't need this gun! I'm gonna kill you now! He gets electrocuted and he like goes into phase 2 of the boss fight.
Yeah.
Whoa!
And then he gets a pipe thrown through him. It's like, hey, you need to let off some steam or something.
Let off some steam, Bennett!
Bennett.
And you know what? He's the final boss. Like that movie has a mini boss. Like the guy that actually kidnapped his daughter because he's on like a roof. That movie would actually make a really good video game.
Yeah, like in the modern time as opposed to like an NES thing.
Oh, dude, the amount of like carnage that he causes for no adequately explained reason. Also, for some reason, in like the streets of LA, there's a gun shop that has like a quad rocket launcher.
Oh yeah, when he like uses a forklift just to like steal weapons, and then like he doesn't even get away with it because the police just show up.
Yeah, and then he hits them with a rocket launcher. Oh no, the lady, the chick. I keep forgetting that she's in the movie. She's the worst part of the movie because they just added a lady into the movie for no reason.
I mean, he kind of kids. If you think about it, Arnold kind of kidnaps her in that film. And he
does kidnap her in order to save his kidnapped daughter, because he basically steals her car and then like he gets her to drive him everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, but not only that too, but like he rips the seat out so that way he's like lowered into the car, so he just looks like a weird.
He looks like a little
weird
baby
child.
man. Yeah. Oh god, there's so much wit. This green berets gonna kick your ass. I ate green rice for breakfast,
And I'm hungry.
and I'm very hungry.
Fuck you, asshole. Click. Fuck you, asshole.
Oh yeah. Fuck you, asshole. Fuck you, ass. Like the way that the inflection on it is so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that or at the beginning, it's like we're gonna all just calm down and talk, right? Wrong. Boom. Just blows his hat off. Like
The way the guy like falls back in the chair is really funny because his legs go like really far up into the air.
oh yeah, he kind of just floats backward and slams into the wall. That movie's really weird. Also, they just like destroy his car, so he pushes it off the side of the cliff.
Yeah, it's like a jackass stunt.
Yeah. Oh man, that movie's awesome. Also, him bonding at the beginning of the movie with his daughter, like he cuts a log and then just picks it up over his shoulder.
Yeah, they were kind of. He was kind
And
of
then
like flexing.
the next shot is them feeding Bambi.
Yeah, it's like a weird Disney like
God.
intro.
God, you know, that movie is great.
Man.
And like it kind of breaks the mold with like that action movie cliche where it's like, "God, John, we need you to come back. There's some crazy shit happening in Guatemala. I'm retired and I've got my daughter." And then
They're killing off.
instead of like more shit happening down south, immediately after the guy's like, "Well, at least let us give you some like guards to protect you," he's like, "Awesome, sweet." Those guards immediately get killed.
They eat shit. Yeah,
They immediately get killed. Oh god, that movie's awesome. That movie's bad. It is bad. But he does kill a guy with a radial saw. I mean, I accidentally erased across this entire page.
Oh no! What did you erase?
Just a line going through it, like a
Did
circle.
you hit like the ruler or something?
I don't know. Something happened. Like I erased somehow.
Well, we'll definitely have a look over every single page before it ever gets published. So.
Oh no, it's just right here. I could just fill it in.
Okay.
It's gonna take like 10 seconds to actually like.
Another thing too that makes me laugh was when he's in the mall and he's getting all the security guards coming after him, which apparently the mall just has like a fucking legion of like security
Oh
guards.
yeah, they all dogpile him, and then he like hulks. He Hulk smashes them like whoa.
I like the first guard when he sees him. It's like, guys, I'm going to need some backup as we've got a criminal on our hands, and he's one gigantic motherfucker.
The famous line that everyone remembers. Remember how I tell you I'd kill you last? Yeah, that's right, Major, you did. I lied. Yeah, he doesn't hit the ground. He just like falls into the shadow realm. He just goes.
I think if you squint, you can actually see the rope blowing him down.
Well, no, if you like, you can see the little tether holding him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the little kung fu wire that's holding him up, which is funny. It's like a really shitty dummy too. They just kind of like drop a dummy into a gorge.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Movie sucks. I love that movie. That movie starts off with like a guy like bringing out the trash and then checking the mail, and then two guys just gun him down with MAC-10s.
Oh mate, the first time I watched that film, so this was like going back like well over like 11 years ago maybe, was my mom brought me like an Arnold DVD collection and that was one of them. And I was like, oh, Commando, never heard of this before. So I was like, oh, I'll give this a watch. Immediately see that film, like, oh, what am I in for?
Dude, this movie fucking rocks! And then Bennett gets blown up in his boat.
Yeah.
To make it look like they're coming after John. Also, his name is John Matrix.
John Matrix.
And this is in the 80s, so it's before the Matrix. So he's just called John, like, graphic calculator.
John. It is I. It is I, Jane Geography. That's one of my favorite things is when like you name a character, but then the surname's like an object. So it's like, hi, I'm Randy Tortilla.
The best one is like After Earth, the really bad M. Night Shyamalan movie.
No, wait, what's the name of the character in that one?
Cypher Rage.
Cypher Rage.
His name is Cypher Rage.
You could not make it up. Cypher Rage.
Yeah. Which
It was a weird.
God. Sorry. This is so many like awesome. I mean, James Bond is kind of
goofy.
There's actually an idea that like he was actually like the name came from like those buy war bonds things, because there is a movie where a guy goes behind enemy lines to kill Hitler, and this is a movie that was made in World War II.
Oh, okay.
There's a movie where a guy goes behind enemy lines to kill Hitler, and you know how they their plan fails. So you know what their second? I'm gonna spoil it, but it's awesome the way that they do their covert mission. They get to Hitler to kill him, but they get surrounded by a whole bunch of Germans, right? And you know how he ends up killing Hitler in the end?
Oh.
He shaves his mustache and takes his uniform off. So there's just a random guy running around, and he just gets shot by his own guys.
I feel like I might have seen a clip of this like a long time ago.
Which I need to find out what that movie is, but like the guy in that movie is called Jimmy Bond, as in Bond salesman.
I think I've seen this before. It's that clip where they just kill Hitler because they think it's just a guy.
They shave his mustache off and take his uniform off. So like they're like, who the fuck's this like naked guy in the like SS office, and they just shoot him.
fucking Wolfenstein censored German Hitler.
But that's the thing though. This was made when Hitler was still alive, which is hilarious.
That means that some like edge. Well, I don't want to say edgy, but like someone had that bright idea of like, what if he just like shaved his mustache?
It wouldn't be. I can imagine it might really. You know what'd be funny? What if like the Germans killed Hitler because they thought he was someone else? They just shave his mustache off. Little shit, fucker.
That's like if you infiltrated like Gaddafi's like palace and then like you just rip off his like hat and like shaved his head and just like threw him outside.
You made him lose 30 pounds.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Because almost every dictator has like a physical trait, like whether it be like a hair.
We always keep coming back to dictators
because they're fascinating.
They are fascinating. We don't like them. We'll make that abundantly clear. We don't like them, but they are like.
Oh, we don't like them at all, but we're taking the piss out of them.
Yeah, it's gonna get us killed one of these days.
I mean, they're gonna have to get. We're gonna have to. They're gonna have to get. They got a lot of people to kill then.
Or we live long enough to see ourselves become Gaddafi. I am great. I am Generalissimo Daniel.
That makes me laugh about just the names. It's like that one guy who was like,
the king of all of the fishes in the sea.
The last king of Scotland.
I need to pull him up. Yeah. That's Idi Amin Dada.
Yeah.
We're gonna end this on Idi Amin's full title.
How long have we been recording for?
Like an hour and a half.
Oh, it's been that long already? Jesus Christ.
We're gonna end this on Idi Amin's full title as dictator. Okay, hold on. I'm pulling it up. His Excellency, President for Life, Field Marshal Al-Haji Dr. Idi Amin Dada, VC, DSO, MC, Lord of all of the beasts of the earth and fishes of the sea, and conqueror of the British Empire in Africa in general, and Uganda in particular. I am the king of fast food, but Wendy's in particular. All right.
I am devourer of all the breakfast menus,
And
and
with that-
McDonald's in particular.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, it was a fun time. Check out for any updates on the comic. Check out the Indiegogo page. The campaign is no longer up, but the campaign is no longer on, but the page still exists for updates. We're also going to be updating through YouTube and Twitter or X.
YouTube, Twitter primarily. We do have like other accounts like Deviantart, but those are the other two are probably the ones you want to like look at the most. So
yeah, but those are the official channels. If we have like some kind of like kick or something that opens up, that's not us.
Yeah.
So just bear that in mind because that can happen sometimes. So thank you very much for watching, and
yeah, this has been great. Like
to all my King of the Fishes out there.
King of the Fishes.
King of the Fishes. Take it easy.
Of England in particular. Yeah.
Of England in particular.